This is your weekend market recap for Friday, November 18th, 2022.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max, eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your weekend market recap for Friday, November 18th, 2022. Hopefully you're having a great week. OPEX is over. A lot of people are probably relieved to be done with this, what I call CHOPEX. OPEX can be rather frustrating. Market that goes sideways, people expecting big ups, people expecting big downs. Typically, neither happens. It ends pretty much where you start. Not surprised the weekly candle was a doji. But let's talk about next week. You have Thanksgiving week. Thursday market is closed. Friday is a half day. It is typically a bullish seasonal week. Just keep that in mind. Are we at a top? Are we getting close to a top? Is the market about to roll over? A lot of questions out there. Let's dig into the charts and let's figure it out. If you're newer to the channel, please subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. You will get the live chats that we're doing all the time. Hopefully you can jump on those. Those are probably my favorite because talk about anything you want to talk about. If you are also new and you're not following, check me out on Twitter, trying to post constantly about what's going on. We had some solid trades today. I mean, it's kind of a happy day / frustrating day, and I'll explain that to folks as well as we get into it, especially with some of the positions in. If you are also still trying to figure out some of the things about trading, stop by the YouTube channel Back to Basics series. I mean, I got 53 videos here on everything about how to trade VIX, how to stop gambling, how to enter exit trades for stocks and options, first and last 3 trading days. Back to Basics, options expiration, hint, hint, wink, wink. Yeah. And on that note, let's get into it. Bitcoin. I don't know. I really don't know. I've said this for what seems like weeks. I am just in the, almost months, I guess, technically. It's just ugly. Ugly. You got no lift. You have lower lows, lower highs. You broke the down channel, and now you're back testing it again, or downtrend. You got volume, which should be a capitulation, but look what's happened the last couple capitulations. It's just led to choppy action. I don't know if crypto is dead. I don't want to make that kind of prediction, but at this point, I think you just have to leave it alone. And a lot of people don't want to hear that. It's been hot. I mean, and it's people don't realize, like, someone who's traded gold for 20 years, like, you can see some really, really, really boring markets when it comes to certain things. It happens. Oil. All right. So if you followed on Twitter, and this morning, my boy Sabalina was talking about oil and repeating tendencies, and he said something about the election and how it could maybe affect the current oil action. And it just made me think, I'm like, man, 2020, let's just go back. And when in doubt, what do I always tell people? Zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. What that means is go back into the past, use it as a tool. I was like, man, what did oil? I remember oil bottoming literally on the election day, or like right around the election. Here it was. Now, whether you are red, blue, green, I don't give a crap. We're trying to make money. Sad to say this, when the Dems are in control, they try to cut oil supplies. They try to push green energy. I don't care what your take is on that, but what it has led to is higher oil prices, because people like to blame that all this was due to Russia, Ukraine. But if you do the math, I mean, literally since 2020, when oil was at $35 a barrel, I mean, it was already cruising up into 2022. It was up in the 80s. Well, what do we notice about this chopping pattern, right? Just after a big move, chop, then led to higher prices. Now, I don't know for sure if we are about to go on a massive up run, but I am sorry to say this. I don't care if you're left, right, straight up, that below the ground. Oil prices in time will go higher. Because again, and let me preface this, as long as the market holds up. Now, if there's a monster slam, the VIX spikes and they throw the baby out of the bathwater, the recession gets greater. As I've said, the Feds are in the sweet spot now. Nobody is believing that and understanding that. Okay. Got it. Not a problem. Talked about buying oil up here in the 84s. Bought a little yesterday and it seemed okay, and then wham. Now I said oil USO. You'll see it on the charts. We'll get into that later. Back test the range lows post-election. Now I know, keep in mind, this election, like many others, slow to get the results, but is this just a big chop zone that reminds us of gold? Well, today's action, the low of the day was at the open, and for the oil futures, I mean, it was interesting how they just smoked them, literally, while the liquidity was at its least. I remember going to bed and waking up and then looking at it. Remember, I'm on Mountain Standard Time, like, what is going on? Like, it's flat. Sorry, oil was up. I mean, I think maybe we could check the 2 hour. I usually don't go dig too deep on this, but you guys got to see this stuff. Check the 2 hour. I remember, like, at one point, I think it was, what was that, Tuesday? Where are we at? Thursday. Yeah, it was at 81, and then I was like, oh, it's at 82.50. It looked like it was holding up. And then all of a sudden, one candle. Now, is it all due to the contract expiration rollover? Maybe some issues with terminals? I don't know. But this candle made no sense because I was just sitting here watching it. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I woke up and it's like, wham! Oil's down $4. I'm like, what the heck is going on? What happened? Well, then look at the volume. Someone bought the crap out of it, and then we closed at the high of the day. Bullish? You bet your bottom dollar. Now, again, is this a trap? We'll see. But if you bought the range lows today, as we recommended, congratulations. I said put a stop in at the low of the AM, and if it holds, you should be good because you're at the range lows. Well, why else would you be confident? Well, natural gas didn't even budge. Like, natural gas, I thought would, if oil's getting pummeled, shouldn't natural gas? It didn't. So, on that note, natural gas, what do you think about this? I mean, I've said this 1,000 times. Not 1,000 times, but in the last couple of weeks. Feels like a big broadening pattern. Now, got to get over the 7s. Maybe it gets into 8s. But it doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look that bad. Now, you got to know your levels for your stops. I mean, if you're long natural gas, you got to stay above 6, upper 5s. Curious action. I think these things seem safe to me near term. Now, again, if the market goes into full, absolute recession, crash, end of the world beliefs, nothing's safe. Nothing's safe. So, at this point, just keep an eye on it. So keep an eye on it. You got Doji on a Friday. Not much to say. Let's get into Zadala. A lot of people are looking at this action going, oh my gosh, the market's about to collapse and the dollar's about to rip higher. Said watch what happens when it gets to the top of this range in the mid upper 2980s. Couldn't make a higher high. I mean, could this be capitulation, a novice gap? Absolutely. At this point, it just looks like chop. I don't see, you would think on a big down with a long wick like that, you would have more volume. Near term, dollar, indecisive. 200-day feels very, very likely. And again, if you are watching, the markets for what they are, and you remember the monthly, what did we say? Breakout, back test. Here's your trend line, maybe around 28. I don't know. There's a lot of monthly support resistance around 28. You can see it on the daily. That to me seems like the max downside near term. I don't think we're about to rip. It's just you gap down one. Again, we don't really pay attention to too many gaps here, but sorry, the microphone's out of the way. But yeah, that's It just looks like consolidation after a big move. I mean, that's not what people want to say. We talked about up here. It looked ominous. Big volume doji, needed more information. Psh, kapow. I think at this point, if you're watching the dollar harshly, meaning like just just looking at it all day. I mean, I think you're missing the bigger picture of the market because, again, dollar volatility is more important than the actual sometimes moves near term. People are like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like, yeah, if the dollar is stable in a range, I mean, the market's probably not going to go crazy. Keep that in mind, right? Tittle, TLT, talked about bonds, not really that interested, but what happens when we get up to the 101 area? Chopping. Not surprised. Backtesting trend lines, all sorts of stuff here, the 50-day. Personally, I think, again, the markets are in the sweet spot, but if oil and gas are going to start ripping, you better be careful with the TLT. Rates could go higher near term. Because this is the thing. I think everything's priced to perfection. If you really want to see the market get absolutely slaughtered, you need to see interest rates go higher. Because if not, the market, if nothing changes, when I mean nothing changes near term, like market just floats. I mean, you could get into this choppy, sloppy action, which I think people don't realize happens a lot, especially if interest rates just flatline. And remember, we got a little bit of a vacuum between now and the next Fed meeting. The VIX, you're welcome, VIX termination. Nobody thought the VIX would die when we said if it doesn't confirm the breakdown of the market with a breakout of the VIX, game over. Talked about the 23s. Now, this gap, is it in play? I don't know. Personally, think the VIX holding in the 23s isn't what I would consider bad or good. I'd like to see this gap fill. Nobody thought it would happen. It's still sitting there. Any gap left behind? I mean, typically you don't. I mean, remember this gap filled. Tendencies for gaps to fill in the VIX, right? Here's some gap-ish stuff. Double bottom. VIX filled the gap and then went higher. Just keep that in mind. When the VIX, VIX, right in your notes. VIX gap fill. When, where, be there, be square. That's all I got to say. SPY, not surprised. We talked about how probably hold up. ChopX, look at this. Nothing. Check the weekly. I mean, it's Doge City. I mean, I'm pulling it up on my weekly here. Check this out. Dogetown. Dogecoin. Nice Doge. I think that was the last op-ed. Was it this one? I can't remember. Is this one? Yeah, I guess it went higher. But again, it was after the VIX was elevated. So now that the VIX is coming down, that's what you get sometimes is ChopX. I mean, it's literally repeating patterns. I guess I should talk about the SPY more. Going into next week, I've said this and I'll say it again. I think you get the 200-day, the channel high could be in play. This is what's crazy about the 200-day coming down and the channel high being higher. You want to talk about trap some folks who think the bear market is over? Read what I just said. Think about it. If you get over the 200-day, you are going to turn bears into crying babies and bulls into giddy teenagers who got their first kiss, whatever you want to describe it as. That would be ideal. Get over the 200-day. That's what I think. That's where, again, a lot of people just don't believe it. I'm like, man, we are going up probably a little higher. Now watch what happens. Now if it collapses next week, well, everyone will be like, oh, you're an idiot. Well, this is where, again, if you've got exposure to the market, hopefully it's not all just tech and financials and all the stuff that's very, what I would consider connected to the market. Meaning if the market moves down, it's going to move down big, right? Like oil, gas, certain things can move on their own. Q's, tech, we talk about this lagging. I'm not surprised if we get back up to this 295. Not that far off. Not that far off. This old trend line from the past. Let me see this one again. Good old trend lines. Where are you coming from? Where'd you go? Man, I got dirty charts. This guy. It's definitely that one. Let's change it to the red eye. Just fun drawings on a Friday afternoon. Gonna go do some stuff here in a little bit. Are we there yet? No, is that the one? Where'd you go? Oh, Look at all that crap. Nope, it's not the one. Man, I apologize. It's this one, the channel bottom there. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, let me zoom in. Funny. Watch that one, that red one, be like the ultimate bottom. Clean this crap up, too. This is just sucio. Sucio. So when you look at it now, again, like we've talked about, tech is lagging. Don't deny that. Hits the 100-day, backs off. I'm telling you, something just... I say this all the time. Like, you don't get tops when everybody's bearish. Keep that in your back of your head. You just don't get tops when everyone's bearish. Because if that's the case, right, that'd be easy. Easy money. It's not. It's not. So, remember, at the bottoms, it's not like bulls are saying, oh, let's buy this low. No, bulls are scared crapless. It's the same thing with highs. IWM, we talk about, we need to see it lag. Could it have topped first? Typically does. Typically bottoms first. Watch what happens. Watch for lagging. Lagging. Watch what happens when you get up into the 190s. I think we'll get there again. Just watch what happens. The market loves to retest. Now, this action causes blow-off tops. Chop leads to chop tops, right? Like straight line moves. Like this is what was kind of crazy about the IWM. Zing, 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 200-day. All right, over the 200-day. All right, well, does it just need to get over the 200-day, essentially? I don't know. I mean, if you look at it personally, it seems logical. I mean, again, I try not to bring certainty to anything because you don't know. You don't know, but this looks like a repeating pattern. Lower high or a retest. If the market's going to hold up, VIX needs to close that gap. 190s seems logical. Gold, tempted to buy this dip because it's the back test of some trend lines. You got below the 10 and 8-day. Is this a V top? Is this a V top? I think there'll be a pullback later into the Fed meeting. I just don't know why I wouldn't retest. This is some powerful stuff. I get it. That gap down, not pretty. Not pretty, but we're back testing some trend lines. And they're all like coalescing. We'll see what happens here. I know people who are looking to short it. So far, they've been absolutely right. We'll see what happens. I'm debating. Oil's kind of got my attention. Silver, gap down 2 days. Here's where if you're a bull or a bear on commodities like gold and silver, you need to see silver get out of this consolidation pattern. GDX, this is where I'm concerned for bears in the metals. It's like the miners made a higher high and a higher low today. Something you got to watch out for. Talked about like a multi-day like pullback. All right, is this it right here? Just watch it. If you're a bear on GDXJ, you don't want to see it making higher highs and higher lows. GDX, gap down, like hits some of these wicks, doesn't fill the gap technically, holding up. Makes a higher high, higher low. We'll see. AG, talked about it holding the 20-day. Like the stuff doesn't look that bad. AEM, holding the 10-day. Back tested this little blue zone. And now again, not perfectly, but that's all it needs. Newmont closed down the dead highs of the day. Back testing this old trend line. Doesn't look that bad. Even PAAS got a freak. Wow, PAAS got some love today. I guess they had their dividend of a dime. People were buying it, going all in. No, I mean, just holding up. Tech, this is where it gets a little sneaky. Choppy, sloppy, laggy. 100-day. Could it just consolidate in the 75s before rolling over? Possibly. 100-day was once resistance. Keep an eye on it. When in doubt, zoom out. NVIDIA, earnings. Talk about Doji, and then today. It doesn't look terrible. Now, the 100-day obviously is going to be important. It was important here. You got over it and chopped and failed. You hit it and failed. chop and fail. That's what I'd be watching for. I know a lot of people are itching to buy Soxus and short sesame semiconductors. 200-day. The high of the day is right here at 222s. You can see that. That's another inflection point. I bet if you drew it on the 10-minute, you could see it better. If you get over 222s, I don't know why you wouldn't have the chop slop top. Chop slop top. Or, God forbid. Oh, man, that would be... Could it be a wide and loose pattern? I just don't think so. SMH is just blah, barf. Could you get to the 618 though? If I'm a bear, and you want it to be easy, I think you just need to hang out around this fib. 230 max. 230 max. Apple, not bearish close today. Again, higher high. Choppy. Again, if this was ready to just roll over. Just bottom. It feels like it's going to go back to the top of the range. That's all I can say. Amazon, laying off folks left and right. These tech names, I don't even know what to do with them at this point. Watch the 20-day, the 100 area. Maybe that's the short. CRM, your guess is as good as mine here. Tries to fill the gap. Man, these are hard. I don't even know. It's just a waste of time. Goog, I feel like these things are excellent shorts on pops. Pops back to the 50-day, hanging out of the 50-day, just not one touching it. That scares me a little bit. Could we be into a chop cycle? Potentially. It just really depends on what the market does. Meta. Mecca high, like a high me ho. Back testing the old channel, but it's over the 20-day. I would personally think that it just needs to break the 20-day to really get going, which is 107, but damn. I mean, you can't get comfortable shorting this without decent pops. Because every time post earnings, it just gets into this chop cycle, right? Gets into this chop cycle. Again, you need market, beat down. You need absolute market beat down to take tech much lower, or it could just chop and leaders could lead. That's what I keep warning people. That's what I'm worried about. Tech lags, leaders lead, and the market chops overall, and it just holds up. And it could hold up. How long? I think the Fed's got to be punching the rates higher. And when I say higher, like really spook people. Or it could be months of just chop crap. Microsoft holding the 50-day. Got all these channels here. I said 250s would be probably the better short. I got that in my notes. NDAQ should be rolling over. Market ain't rolling over either. It's just dojiing. I don't think it's been able to get over this range, but yeah, I don't know. This is where it's hard. You got to just give yourself time. This is the one thing about trading the market, is that everybody wants the market to move when they want it to. And the market just don't give a crap what you think. And I'm just telling you that. MicroStrategy looks like Bitcoin, but not making lower lows. The longer it consolidates here, the more bullish I become. Because this could be a washout to mark up and sell later. Netflix talked about selling up here. Congrats, getting close to the 20-day. Just watch the 285 area, because I think the first dip should get bought. The market holds up, it absolutely will. Roblox, yikes. Double bottom, but channel lows, this is tough. You could buy it down here with tight stops. I just think there's better trades. Tesla, is that a double bottom? I don't know. You gotta. These stocks are so ugly. People are like, oh, I want to buy them. I'm like, you want to short them? Okay. Either way, I would just rather let something come to you. And if that is hard for you to fathom, then you haven't been trading that long. Because imagine if you're trying to just buy and hold or short and hold through chop, you're not extremes. Extreme. If you're not at extreme, it just sucks. X. Talked about hitting the 200-day. It's not bad. It's a monster consolidation pattern. We talked about this. W. Pulling back. Hits the 200-day. Backing off. High and tight isn't bearish. New core. Things down a couple points today. Again, rally back. It's probably going to be stuck here from the 145s, but if it gets through it, I mean, you got 155s. Who knows? VALE. This one's spinning off stuff. Obviously, the dollar holding up. I just don't want to play it. Wait for the 12s. Arrow. I know people are watching this thing along the 20-day. It broke it today and then wicked back up. Look what it hit. The 50-day. I don't know. I mean, it's almost like you don't know. And CCJ, I mean, breaks the low, pops back up. I mean, this thing could be in a chop zone. So if you're selling options against this, which somebody said they were, well, that's totally fine. But June 2023s, I don't think I'd be doing that. You really want the VIX to spike, and you want to see some extremes, downs. Selling puts now, 12 months, no, not 12, like 8, 9 months out, tough. But even near term, it's like Westinghouse deal. I mean, this area will get retested at some point. Just, it's almost like, and I feel bad to say it, CF, you had to move on from it. Once it broke the 50-day, I'm like, what could it do now? I mean, your guess is as good as mine, y'all. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I want it, I mean, and that's what sucks, is it hit the 50-day today. And I saw that. I'm like, oh, cool. Oh, crap. Then it backs off. Not ideal. Not ideal. This is in between the 50 and the 100-day. Places that usually it doesn't last. Keep that in mind. I was watching that and I'm like, I'd rather be late. Or if you got the extreme today, which hilarious if you just, there it was again. Good guess. Because I mean, it's like you're waiting for the 200-day, it didn't hit. Now you're between the 50 and the 100. You got to get over the 50-day. Mosaic, holding pattern. I know we have the Ukraine grain deal. Yeah. Channel lows. All of these trades could be taken. Just have a stop. NTR holding up. Can't say anything about anything other than get over the 79 and the 20-day. 20-day is the key. It unlocks higher prices. Aaron holding up really well. You could be buying the dips here, and it's the big boys here. Big dog showed up. We like when the big dogs show up. Remember, we'll see that on oil today. You're going to go, oh, big dog did show up. How about them apples? It's got to break the downtrend. We said once it gets over 50, here comes the 200-day in this zone up here in the 57 area. What's going to be the catalyst? We don't know. XBI, again, if the market was out to melt down, why is this thing rallying back? It stopped me out, holding up. Hard trade. XLF, somebody was talking about shorting Morgan Stanley Day. I'm like, financials just don't look right to short. I feel like you have a broadening pattern here. Wider, lower lows to higher highs. Just watch what happens when it gets up into 36s. Morgan Stanley, I think someone shorted that today. Or JP Morgan. I mean, is this the backside of the high? Is this the backside of the mountain or the hill? Or is this chop? If you short at the highs, I get it. Just be thoughtful. JP Morgan, someone saying they're shorting it today. I mean, you're close enough to the highs. We'll just see if it folds over. I just don't see this thing folding if the markets are holding up. Solar. I talked about this. I hate to say this again. We'll talk about it again. Blue, green, red, party, whatever. Solar seems to be holding up really well considering what's going on. Now, we thought it would dump if the red party swept. They did not sweep, so you have to pivot your mindset. So everyone who's looking to short, just let it play out. Let the evidence show itself. If you're getting near the highs, fantastico. But if you're not, you might be just like NDAQ. Might be waiting. I've been waiting for this moment all quarter. Hold on. I mean, problem is I think I can get to 88. ENPH, man, got up to 322 today. Made new highs. No, back up at the highs. Backed off. Anomaly? Whoa. So I got to see some here. Because, again, you will see big volume on options expiration. But, damn, something happened there. Oh, okay. All the volume is... at the close in a tight candle. That's dark pool money. It's a big order going through. Maybe, shit, I don't know. Oh, yeah, that's tough. I mean, I can see now where someone was able to distribute it. Somebody was able to distribute it. Red alert. Put that one in your notes. I'm putting that one in my notes. It's like red flag. Red flag. Makes me my red flag. That's interesting. You have not seen that kind of... I mean, look at it. It's like somebody had to absorb it here, and then they said, here, we'll give it to you. Doesn't have to tank the first day, but I'd be watching. That's interesting. Okay, solar is now going back. For solar, it's over the fib on the monthly. Good luck. Congratulations. Remember we talked about waiting for it? Well, first touch, probably not the best time. Could it have a wick? Could it DJ it out? Wick. Your guess is as good as mine. You want to start shorting up here? Man, I think you got to redraw some of these now because it's looking like one. I don't know. I absolutely think you have an opportunity. It's just, do you want to be early? I mean, keep in mind, if oil and gas drop, there's no incentive for anyone to buy solar. I don't care how many credits they give away. Nobody's going to be wasting their money on this stuff. I mean, people weren't wasting their money on it months ago. But somehow it still went bonkers. Tough. Absolutely tough. I mean, I'm just curious. Does anyone want to go back in the time machine? I'm going back there. You want to join me? What happened in 2020 post-election? Wow. Didn't blow off until then. Didn't blow off till the end of November. Just note to that. Putting notes. Blow off end of November? Question mark. Which, if you give it a time kind of idea, like repeating pattern, I have no clue where it could be then. This is hard. Let's end it with oil and gas. Yay! Big boy showed up. Now, again, not huge compared to like Ukraine volume, but get that out of there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Opens at the range lows. These candles here. Notice the volume. Defending it. Defense wins championships, right? Retests. I mean, this is what kills me is I wish I would have seen this. This is a big chop zone. And I apologize for not absolutely destroying it. But if you trade around the position and you waited and you were layering and today you saw the action and said, hey, ultimate stop at the low of the day, see what happens? And guess what? You're pretty damn happy because that candle in itself, like there was no red. I mean, it closed at the high of the day. I mean, that wick is like chocolate chip mini nipples. I mean, I can't even see that thing. So, now what? If this is the bottom, should channel up. How fast? Well, let's keep an eye on it. Because again, gaps on oil's pretty irrelevant at times. But you would really love to see a big gap up and go. Keep that in your notes. Gap up and go. UNG. Again, we talked about it. For like watching gaps, I'm like, ugh. Gaps down, rallies right back. What did I say? 2060s? Look at that. It's just been like, it's been so hard. But this is high and tight. It could get over it, y'all. And I'm just put that in your bank of knowledge and just watch. Know your levels. ExxonMobil, again, you would think if oil and gas were crashing, the oil service names would be absolutely unloaded on. No, they bought it right back. Tested and closed above the 20-day. Doesn't look that bad, y'all. Occidental, I mean, at one point down the 68s, closes back at the high. Somebody's buying that. PXD. Again, another down long wick, closes near the highs. This doesn't look like distribution. Distributive action would be selling and closing at the lows, right? Closing at the lows, closing at the lows. Closing at the lows and chopping. Goodbye. Like repeating patterns, right? Like, here you go. Closing at the lows near the highs. Hey, well, where are we at now? Closing at the high, closing at the high, closing at the high. One closing at the low candle, but this is what's crazy is like, you saw it on the 10-minute the other day. Let me see if I can pull that up. Somebody's doing stuff. Oh, gosh, look at that close. Another, man, it's all squaring out positions at the end of OPEX. Sometimes it can look bigger than it is, but here you go. The gap down, long wicks. Not that big of a wick. Where was the day? Yeah, here we go. And look at that. That was the end of whatever, the 15th. So that was Tuesday. I mean, that's... Who was buying that? That's not distributive action, right? Like, that's not you and me buying 100,000 shares plus. All right. On that note, please reach out if you have any questions, concerns, thoughts. Be safe out there. This is not easy. This is absolutely not easy. And I keep telling people, better be careful. Here's the IYT transports. Again, hits the 200-day. First dip getting bought. 100-day. We'll see. All right. Talk to y'all later.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.